Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WPwatercooler's WPblab. Guess what? It's episode number 50, episode 50. Today's topic, we're going to be discussing customizing the WordPress Media Library.
So fancy.
I know, right? It's because the words get cut off and I have to remember the things. So we're gonna be talking about the media library. We're gonna be talking about the good and bad of it and everything in between. Before we introduce our guest, Bridget, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantabulous. How are you doing, co-host?
I am doing very well. Today I looked at my Give plugin to see how things were going. How about you?
Oh man, Give is awesome. It's the most robust online donation and donor management tool. It's free in the repo, and you should try it. GiveWP.com.
Devin, you totally
free.
Devin, you know my PayPal. Feel free to send me some money. Just saying. You can't buy that type of acting. You know that is the way. Yeah. So Bridget, how do people find you over on your websites?
They can find me at bridgetwiller.com, givewp.com, wordpress.com, and that's a lot of places, right? And at WPwatercooler/WPblab. I'm here every Thursday night with my favorite friends at 7:30 Pacific. Subscribe, click the thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe.
Awesome. I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over at jasontucker.us. We actually, a while back, started the Fans of WPblab Facebook group. If you go over to facebook.com/groups/fans of WPblab, you can join over there. We'll definitely we'll look at your family photos and everything, make sure you're okay and you're not weird.
Creeper.
Yeah, so why not? We've been having a lot of fun over there. We've been updating a lot of really fun things and cool stuff, so feel free to go check that out. We would really appreciate it. So, our guest. We have a guest today. This is awesome. Rachelle, how's it going? How are you doing today?
I am doing very well. It's been a good day.
Where do folks find you on the internet?
You can find me at WiseArts on Twitter, WISEARTS, and my website is RachelleWise.com.
Awesome.
I'm on LinkedIn.
That's awesome. So you were the one in our awesome Facebook group. You were the one that was talking a little bit about how to deal with media manager, media uploader, media library. It's kind of changed names a little bit depending on what you're doing with the thing.
Yeah.
That thing, it's great. I love that I can take my videos, photos, PNG files, JPEGs, what else? PDFs, and all sorts of other formats, upload them on there, and then hopefully, depending on how the MIME types work out on the browser side, things get displayed. So I wanted
to there too.
You totally could put in GIFs.
GIFs.
Unless you're wrong, then it is.
Hashtag instigator.
Trouble.
She's trouble, folks.
Oh, man.
Yep. So yeah, you could totally do that, and take those files, put them on there, and store them there, and then also be able to what they call attach those files to a post.
Yes.
To posts. That's one thing that some of the folks either at my work as well as some of the clients that I have never really got the idea that you can take one image and upload it and use it over and over and over again.
Yes. And then you end up with the multiples.
Right. And then you're like, how do I consolidate this stuff and how do I manage these things? And that's kind of some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. And so we got plenty of folks in the chat. They're all saying hi to each other and whatnot. In a few moments here, they'll get caught up to us actually talking because there's a little bit of a delay. So what I would like for you to do is to load up one of your WordPress sites that you've been doing management of your various library files and stuff, and look at the plugins that you have installed, and then copy and paste those plugin URLs in the chat here. We would love to kind of look at all the different things that people are using so that we can kind of get an idea of what people are using out there and what things I'm using, what things, you know, each of the three of us are using, and then we can kind of compare and contrast and talk a little bit about it.
Are you going to crowdsource the show notes? Because they can't put links in the chat,
we could
remember?
totally do that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they can't put links in the chat.
I totally forgot. Let me
That's
do that real
okay.
quick. So, how about you talk amongst yourselves real quick while I get that done.
Hi, Bridget.
Hey,
Bridget.
How do you two know each other, and how do you guys know each other?
WP.
Oh, okay. Very
Yeah.
We had
cool.
a group photo together. And
nice.
we're Camp Orange County.
And then I haven't been able to make it since because I'm so busy all the time.
Yeah, I hear that.
I also have made it to a few random Orange County WordPress meetup events, but Monday is like the worst day ever.
Right?
I'm always slammed on Monday.
I'm slammed on Monday. I have to get up at 5:30 on Tuesday because that's the day I go to San Diego. So
That's a
I
nice
go
commute
because
there.
I need to be there, but also Mondays, yo.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, we're getting this thing set up real fast
Oh
here.
man.
So
But you
sorry,
went
I
to
should
Camp
have
Orange
been.
County, right? Did you go to LA?
Yeah.
Are you going to US?
No, I kind of want to, but it's far away. I kind of have a lot going on. I don't know.
It's spendy to go that far away.
The hotel cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not
I'm
fun.
going with my work, so.
Oh, you rock. Well, actually, yeah, for that matter, I could write that off. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, you can. Oh, you can for sure write it off.
Yeah.
But for WPblab listeners, we do have a discount code to save you $20. But that's
So what is that? That's WPblab
50.
50, right?
Mhm.
The 50 is for 20.
Well, it's 50%.
Yeah. Oh, half off. Good
Which
deal.
is still nice. It's nice to, be thought of. It's 4 caramel macchiatos. Caramel.
It's totally caramel.
You guys could totally know we were talking about pronunciation before the show started. So do you say caramel apple or caramel apple? Do you say GIF or GIF? Weigh in on the show notes in the comments, folks, because these are the things that actually matter in life.
Oh, that's awesome.
I need a little sound effect like ding, like when I wink.
Yep.
Ding.
We
Like-
totally need a soundboard because you could do
right?
Oh, you haven't listened to WP-Watercooler because that is the soundboard. That's all they do is the soundboard on there. It sounds like the morning zoo on that thing.
Awesome.
Oh man.
They start putting hats on each other and all sorts of funny stuff. So let's talk a little bit about some of the pain points within managing your media in the library. So for me, the biggest one is just having some type of taxonomy that's there, something that's going to be either a tag or a category, so that way I could look at them and categorize all these things and be able to show, hey, so all these files are made because they're going to be in blog posts. And all these files are going to be made for header graphics. And all these are going to be for overlays, and all these are going to be for this, and all these are going to be for that, and you end up with all these different things.
Yes.
So I've been using a few different plugins, and I've been kind of trying to find out what the best ones are, which is one of the reasons why we've talked about this a little bit on WP-Watercooler, but it was more along the lines of us griping and complaining about why the media manager needs to be kind of updated. I'm going to get logged in real quick here on one of my sites, and we can take a look together.
Cool.
So the main reason why I would look at doing some type of taxonomy regarding your media files is that way you can use that as a way to search for them as well as to do categorization. So let's say, for instance, you wanted to have all of the red objects, all the red photos or something be tagged the word red. So you can quickly just do a search for the red ones and have a little drop down that shows you all those red images. You could definitely do something like that. Looking here, let's get to the plugins real fast, and then I'll do a screen share and kind of show you what we're looking at here. So doing something like that, in the chat, James was talking about using the Ajax thumbnail rebuilder, or Ajax thumbnail rebuild. That's a great one for being able to rebuild your thumbnails. Have
That
either
one
of you?
regenerate thumbnail that Steve always talks about?
Exactly.
The same concept?
Yeah.
Same concept, yeah. They used to be really, really brutal on the server that you were on, and you would run it, and then the server would just crash because it's having to resize all the images that are in the entire library. And that kind of stinks, It's like, I don't know if I want to have my server get beat up because I wanted to go and rerun all of my my thumbnails. The reason why you'd want to do that is if you, for instance, if you wanted to add a new file size, actual dimensions, and then you wanted to have it create a whole bunch of images using those dimensions, that's why you'd want to rebuild your thumbnails. So let's see here. Let's get into those plugins. So when you're adding those images and rebuilding those thumbnails, every single version that's, every single file size, or the dimension size of those images are stored, as files within WordPress in the file system. So those files slowly but surely start getting pretty crazy, which is one of the other things that someone was asking about is how would you kind of optimize those images if you were to get rid of an image, or if you were to change one of the file sizes or remove it from your themes. Have either of you ever looked at something like that? A way to kind of clean up those, or anybody in the chat even?
I have used, I don't even remember the name of it right now, but I have used a cleanup plugin, and it turned into a disaster. So it's like if you're not careful, it will blow away things that you are actually using. And I don't know, this was a while ago, maybe they've improved, but I've just, ever since then, I've just kind of stayed away from that and stick to manual cleanup if I can.
Right. So all those files end up in the in your WP uploads folder, and then inside there's different different directories for each of the different years, months, dates, and you can kind of list through them all and see all the different ones that are in there. Optimize images resizing. Let's take a look at that one real fast. And then while we're doing that, I'll get the screen sharing going here. Switch over real fast. Let's see here. There we go. All right.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's switch this. Okay, cool. So here's the plugin that they were talking about in the chat here. Let's see here. One of these, if I remember correctly, the thing that it did is it asked you if you wanted to remove non-attached images.
And that can be scary.
Which is scary because by doing that, some themes, when you use an image, it doesn't actually attach the image. What it does is it just uses it. It just takes the URL and uses it, and it never tells WordPress, hey, I'm using this, make sure you don't do anything to it.
Oh, why would you do that?
Why would you
not tell the machine?
Oh, because the person that wrote the plugin didn't set it up right. So let's go over here real fast to library. Yeah, so this is the one I've been looking at most recently, which is the enhanced. This is over on my church's website. So this is the Enhanced Media Library plugin. This one has both a free version as well as a. See here, it has both a free version as well as
the pro one is only $25.
Right?
I'm so impressed. Wow.
So the reason why you'd want to buy the pro version, and I'll show you when we go into one of our images here. Go into the media library real fast. Is so what this thing does is we'll look at a particular image, and you'll see how these get added in here. These are the various categories. And this is for the church site that I work at. So if we were to look at one of these images here, what it does is it gives you the ability to add a category and select one of those categories. The other thing it does, which we don't have the pro version installed, but if you had the pro version, you could actually select multiple images and then tell it to bulk change all of those images to a different category, which is I think what you were talking about, right? Is being able to do something like that with the Pro version.
Yeah, the Pro version does that. Yeah.
So this is a great plugin. It has a measly 80,000 downloads. So it's doing pretty good.
Wow. That's actually kind of cool, especially if you have a bunch of different. Like, to me, I was just thinking it'd be cool to have featured images and then everything else, But like, I can see with it.
Let me pull up the other plugin that I was looking at here. Media categories. So one of the things, when you're trying to do categorization of images, at least for me, I'm trying to find something that's going to be forwards compatible. Like somebody's actually thinking ahead, thinking, what can I do to make this better? This one by J-Trip is actually a pretty good one. I started playing around with this one a little bit. This one's called WP Media Categories.
Yeah.
The thing about this one that I like is that it's simple. It's a very simple interface to use. The part I don't like about it is that since it's so simple, being able to do the bulk changes and stuff like that isn't built into this. And I don't know if it's because he's been working on this and they just barely started adding some of those features built into core, but yeah, this one makes it a little difficult to kind of deal with managing those images unless you do some additional programming. So he actually gives you all of the in the FAQ section here. If you go and look at his support documentation for it, it kind of shows you how you can go about it. Look, Bridget, it's that thing called GitHub.
I know, I have an account now.
Ooh.
I had to make an issue on our website, so.
But he did a whole bunch of
It was just words, though. When it said possible fix, I said, I have no idea. And so my support guy, he's like, you should have wrote, what, you want me to do your job too? It was cute. Ben Meredith's funny. We're getting like a lot of chit-chat in our Slack channel now. It's fun.
So he's actually written a bunch of different plugins that kind of all do the same sort of thing. These very simple one-off small little plugins that aren't crazy, they're not trying to change the world, and change the entire environment in WordPress. They're doing very specific things. So I don't know. I like his plugins, and I've used quite a few of them on various projects. This one in particular, I think I may end up sticking with that enhanced media library, just as my way of being able to manage those the library content easier. Let's see here. Let me see what else I had to look at regarding these. There's another one for replacing content or replacing an image.
Yes.
Which is awesome. Being able to actually, instead of upload a whole new image and then delete it and then put the image back and then try to figure out where it was you used those images because they may or may not be attached. Using this replace images is actually pretty handy. Have you done something like that too?
I have used Enable Media Replace, I think it was called.
Yes, that's it.
And I am probably going to start installing that as a matter of course on almost every site. I work with a nonprofit client who has just hundreds and hundreds of images. I mean, you probably get that with that church site you work on. Yep. Every event you need to upload, a gallery of all the images, and then people are going in and uploading revisions and not deleting the originals, and it's just the library has gotten out of control. And so now this is a case where I need to go in and manually search for things and delete things that have duplicates. And so I think had I been working on that site when it was originally built, if this plugin was installed, things would be a lot neater now.
I'm looking in the document here. I thought I'd go through a couple of these that people have been talking about. So one of them is the ONet regen thumbnails. I don't think I've used this particular one, but it looks kind of interesting. So let's pull that up real fast.
Yeah, that sounds like too many cooks in the kitchen, Rachelle. That would
Too many cooks.
Totally.
photographers.
So this is this one's the replace thumbnails, and then you'll regenerate the thumbnail right here. Okay,
Very cool.
so that's kind of cool. Let's see here, what else do we got? So one of the ones that we've talked about quite a bit on WP-Watercooler is this one with its amazing, awesome name.
Release a Kraken.
Yeah, you hit the go button, and then you get to say release a Kraken. How awesome is that?
Yes.
Yeah, totally had to be an 80s kid to even.
Yep. So this one is a paid plugin, and you pay per gigabyte of the images per month. So what it does is it processes those images for you, and it optimizes them in such a way so that way when you have those images up on the server, you can just hit the big button that says, release a Kraken. Not really. And then it'll go through and it will release the Kraken and kind of clean up all the stuff. So there's that one. Another one that I've been looking at as kind of something that I wish WordPress had built in is, this one's the Joomla one, but there is...
He says Joomla with so much disdain.
Oh,
Yes.
Joomla. If I could have, well, I don't know. I guess I don't have that much money, but like the number of sites that I've converted from Joomla over to WordPress because they couldn't deal with it anymore.
Just can't deal. So yeah, this one builds folders. So you have different folders that you can interact with, which is kind of cool.
So, like, I hear that you're not supposed to be having folders and stuff, so that's why I'm curious about this, wanting folders.
Well, I think it's kind of along the same vein. We'll get into this in just a second. I'll come back to that.
Explain that to the newbies.
Yeah, so the folders thing is more along the lines of a different way of representing those tags in those categories. So if you've ever gone from using like Microsoft Outlook or Mail on the Mac or something like that to using Gmail, Gmail doesn't have folders at all. It may look like there's folders in there, but there's no folders. What it is it's making folders out of categories, or rather for Gmail at least, it's using tags. So those tags, every time you add a tag, you're putting that image or that thing into a folder. So with this thing, I think James was the one that found this in the chat. No, Jonathan did. The media folder thing is just making something that looks like a folder, even though it's really just a bunch of little like categories or tags, which is cool. So what were you saying that you're not supposed to have folders?
Like, I don't know, I just listen to all you people talk, and I don't hear like a whole lot of love for putting folders in the media library, like.
Oh, well, if you were to make a new folder, if you were to FTP into the server and then put a folder in there, yeah, that's no bueno. You shouldn't
breaking the system.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't.
I told you I heard something bad about folders in the media library.
Yeah, you shouldn't be putting folders in there at all. Like that's kind of a sacred place, and that's something that
sacred.
The server should be managing for you. Yeah, exactly. Like really, the server should be managing that for you, and you shouldn't be in there kind of nosing around in there, because it's unless you know what you're doing, like we were talking about earlier, of going in there and kind of editing those files and moving them around and making changes to them. Yeah, you shouldn't really be in there. So I'll show you kind of what a folder setup looks like. I'm going to load up Coda real quick, and I'll show you that. Let's get rid of, there we go. Okay. So let's go back over here. There we go. Okay, so here's the here's my editor of choice that I use here, which is Coda. And in here are all the different folders that WordPress has created. So I'm actually in the root folder, then the WP-content folder, and then the uploads folder. So inside here, if I go 2016, you can see all the different dates. And if we take a look at the dates on the far left here, let me grab a thing here and bring it over. You can see these somewhat correspond with the dates in which they've been changed or things have been changed in it. So maybe I went and updated all the thumbnails in here. It looks like I did at this particular time and day. I ran a kind of an update and did them all. So if I go inside here, you can see all the different images that are in here, and then I can look at one of those images. So these are all the different sizes, and we didn't really discuss. We discussed this, but we didn't really explain what was going on. The folders are set up, or the files rather, are set up in here with different sizes for each of those images. My designers tend to put a size in there, at least so they know what they're kind of working with. But when they upload the file to WordPress, it creates different sizes that are that are here. Let me share my screen a little different so I can kind of show you. Because for the newbie folks that are here, they're not they're not really going to know too much about this. So let me reshare, and I will show you this.
Bridget raises her hand.
Yeah.
I guess I do talk about myself in the third person. I wasn't trying to.
Okay. So for instance, here's an image that's right here, right?
Hello, sir.
Yep. And then here's a smaller image.
Oh.
And there's a teenier image. So these images are kind of defined within WordPress. That's a really great cropped image. And then here's various images of Tim Muehlhoff. So you can kind of see each of the different sizes as it gets smaller. And those sizes are dictated within the WordPress theme, or within in your functions.php file. You can kind of make those changes in there and specify what those images are going to look like. So if we go a little further into like this one, so here's another one of these images. And some of these images, WordPress just generates images, and maybe this is the only image we're going to use out of the entire thing. Well, that's the image. Or here's the full-size image. Maybe this is the one that we're going to use. Well, WordPress is super duper wasteful, and it just makes every single different size. And within, you can see how these are hard cropped. So some of these actually have a cropping that's happening around it. And then this one doesn't have a crop, so it's not telling it to force it to crop it. So you can kind of see how it's building and saving these images that it's going to use somewhere else on the website. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit in these, kind of understanding what the heck it is that WordPress is doing and why is it making all of these images.
Do you want to tell us why it's doing that? Because of mobile responsiveness and all that?
So the reason, so the reason why it's building those images is because it doesn't know what you're going to use those images for, and so the area in which those images are going to be displayed can be different. So for instance, if you're using a widget that goes on your website, that widget could be this big by this big, say like 60 by 60 or something, and that's where it's going to be used. Well, the WordPress theme is going to instruct WordPress, hey, whenever you go and create new images or a new image gets uploaded, that image should be resized to 60 by 60, as well as the full size, as well as large, medium, and small, like all those different ones that are in there. The thumbnail, the medium size, and then the large size. So there's hard crops and not hard crops, and you can kind of set those up depending on how you want it to be constrained. You can also say only make it so tall or only make it so wide. But I don't care how tall or wide it is. Whatever one I'm going to tell you, that's the one I want you to have it 600 pixels tall, and that's it. And then if it's super wide, then it just makes sure it stays within the correct proportions, yet it still displays it. Did I do that right? Rachelle, what do you think?
Yeah, that's about it.
Did I totally describe that correctly? So let's see here. So like Jonathan just put in here in the chat regarding this this other one, which is called Simple Image Widget. Let's take a look at that real fast. This is kind of fun doing the whole screen sharing thing.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the simple image widget plugin. And let's take a look and see what this one does here. So this one literally gives you a place to upload an image. You pick the size, and then you put, if you want to have a link in there and maybe some text.
Mm-hmm. You want text.
Yes, you want text.
SEO and accessibility, yo.
So you put all this stuff in here, you hit the go button, and then wherever you put this widget, this image will show up that's going to be of this size with this link and then some text around it.
Simple.
Yep, super duper simple. It's literally a simple image widget. So if you have any questions in chat or anything like that, feel free to ask them in the chat here. Unfortunately, we don't have a way of like raising your hand or anything like that. So one of us will have to play moderator and kind of look and see if anybody's asking any questions or anything like that. Let's see here. What else do we got going on here? So I guess one of the main reasons, you know, going back to what I was talking about regarding doing categorization or having a taxonomy or something around these images, is that when you just have a ridiculous number of images, it gets scary. It gets scary fast, and you're like, I need to figure out what these images are, and what are we using these images for? And the other thing is it's to kind of give, like for instance, our workflow at work is that someone will design an image, and they'll give it to somebody who's going to set it to like the maximum size that this thing's going to be, so we don't end up with like a 6,000 pixel by 6,000 pixel square.
That is a really good point. Have a maximum. Like you could code that in. It's
yep.
That needs to be coded in. That full
upload 5 megabyte pixel pictures.
Right, and it should definitely not be, the medium size should not be larger than the container.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
And
unless you're going to be like a light box. So like you're going to stick a thing in the light box, and the light box lets you move the image around.
Even
or something.
then, there's a limit. Like, I just moved to site a couple weeks ago, and it was like 8 gigabytes. They had full size portrait images, like 5 gigabyte images, hundreds of them. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I can't even move it.
That's crazy.
Have a maximum size.
Definitely.
Code it in.
and that's the other thing regarding these images is that the image will get resized to each of those different image sizes. Like the basic is right. A thumbnail, a medium size, and the full size or large size. So those images, you'll have duplicates of those, and so that thing's going to take this really monster size image and shrink it down. And kind of just blindly shrink it down, and then blindly shrink it down again, and blindly shrink it down again. And you're going to end up with an image that you're probably not going to be able to read very well, you know, just because you didn't build it to a set height and width. Yeah.
Scope. So like I was at WordCamp Cincinnati and we were talking about using the WordPress app. So this is the downside of using the WordPress app, is because you're uploading things directly from your iPhone that are huge. So a lot of people,
12 megapixels of it.
right? Like even the people who have older iPhones are still taking huge humongous pictures, you know?
Yeah.
So this would be a good time to point out, like if you are doing that, maybe use Canva or something. Canva has an iPhone app. You can make it to whatever size you want it to be in Canva. You don't even have to do stuff with it. You can literally just use Canva to change the size. I do it every single day.
Canva is awesome. I love Canva. I live and breathe by Canva now. Like I don't even load up Photoshop anymore for some of this stuff. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna slap this in Canva real quick because I know I'm gonna use it on the web somewhere. Why not?
Give them $15 a month.
You're a fan of it?
Of the plugin that Emmanuel just mentioned in the chat, Insanity, you can actually resize images on the fly when you upload them. That's pretty cool.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's a cool one. When the images, that's a good point. The images when they get uploaded, they are definitely uploading the full size image, and then the server is going to compress it, or the web browser is going to compress it
Not ideal, but I think for those clients that are impervious to being taught about, image resizing and resolution and stuff, it's the best you can do.
Or you have those people that are like, it's a raw file, just upload a raw file. It's not that big a deal.
I mean, it's hard on your site time, right? This is what I keep hearing.
Yeah, because if you're telling it to use the full-size image, it will use the full-size uncompressed image. That's it.
So Jonathan has a question about Canva on the iPhone.
Yeah, I use Canva on the iPhone all the time.
Yeah, I use it all the time. Yes, ask a question, friend.
He's raising his hand. I love it. He's totally using the emoji.
Oh my gosh.
Please, friend, ask us what you want to know.
It's a free app from the Apple Store. I don't know if it's in the Google Play Store. Sorry, Google people. Because I only have an iPhone. I don't get paid for them, but I love them. But the thing is, what you do is if you have an account and you're signed in on your phone. So how like in the WordPress app, you can deal with your self-hosted WordPress site, and then it syncs. You can do the same thing with Canva. So if you just want to start an image on Canva and then finish it on desktop, it's all syncs there. It's in the,
Do you pay for it?
I pay for Canva for work, which is $12.99 a month, because I can store our hexadecimal codes, our fonts, and our logos, which is
so
totally
it's like a mobile style guide.
Yeah, it is.
It totally is.
Are you kidding me? We don't have. Maybe I should say this out loud, but we don't have a style guide.
They'll
say, "What's the green?" I know we're still working on it. I'm like, just start a Google Doc, you guys. Like, I know our green. I went to Web Color Picker. I'm like, it's in Canva. I'll just open up Canva and I know what the color. I know the color.
You got something going there.
I mean, because they were 3, now we're 6. It just happens so fast. Nobody needed to know that before, but now I know it's Proxima Nova, Montserrat. I got it all down right. Like, basically, you're making a style guide in Canva. You can add people as teams, but that gets more spending. I'm not paying for anybody else to be on my account. So Canva, Jonathan's saying, what does it really do? So Canva is a photo editing tool. It has pre-made templates for sizes like Facebook header, Twitter header, blog image, infographic. I use it to make my slides for presentations.
Here's one right here. So here's WPblab from a week or so ago. And here's the various elements that are on the page. And you can just double click on that element, and then you can move it around or drag it around or whatever. This is actually an image that I made elsewhere. So I can close that out. Here's his image. If I wanted to crop him a little different or something, I can crop him in there.
That's so handy.
I mean, if you know how to use Photoshop, you really don't need Canvas.
Look at those layouts.
You can't deal with life.
Right. You're like, I want to rebuild this one, or I want to do whatever. The other thing that's nice about when you pay for this is that it will actually help you with doing a magic resize.
Magic resize is totally the most amazing part. That's worth it.
Let's say I'm going to make a Pinterest image, which is like the worst thing to do. They want to be all long and tall. I can take this and then go like, oh, well, I'm going to just grab this thing and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Not like that, obviously. And I'm not a designer, so don't shoot me or whatever. And I could take him and I can go like, oh, yeah, I'll just make him a little bigger. Maybe I'll put him up on the top. And so now at this point, I've made all the things I need to do quickly and easily. I don't know.
Yeah, and you can do custom dimensions. They have layouts that are pre-made. They have stock photography. You can pay $1.
If you want to be like, oh, well, I wanted it like this, now you can look at the 2 different versions, send it to the client, and have them figure out what they like about it. And then when you hit the download button, it just says, what file size do you want this thing to be in? And you just do like JPEG or PNG, and then hit the go button, and that's it.
You can do a PDF too, by the way.
And you can also make transparents, which is awesome.
Yeah, I make my slides there, and so I think it's awesome. Then you can export the images and then throw them into Keynote.
So you can kind of see how this whole thing's kind of built out. So they broke it out into a whole bunch of teeny tiny little pieces. But yeah, you want to build something super fast. This is how you build it. Take this thing, upload it to WordPress, and there you go. You just did WPblab.
Yeah, it'll be the right size. It'll be the right size too. I mean,
Yep.
like Facebook, for example, wants it to be 1200 by 628 or 630, depending upon if you ask. There's two development teams. One says 628, one says 630. Ads say 630, and the rest of it says 628. So that was a staff meeting that somebody never won.
Cheryl in the chat was asking regarding what's the largest size that you should upload. So there's a theoretical level, and then there's a server, will never let you upload larger than X, and each server is totally different. PHP and Apache kind of fight it out to determine who's going to be the person who's going to be the thing that says, here's how large you can make those images or anything be and have it be uploaded. You can also just FTP the thing up if you're looking to upload some really huge item to get around that limitation. But I wouldn't go anything. Well, 1 meg is pretty darn big. I mean, we still live in this day and age where 1 meg is a big file size. What do you think about that, Rachelle?
I don't know. It depends on the usage. Like I've seen, there's sites that have these big full screen parallax images, and I'm trying to think of like, even if it was 1900 by something, I still don't even think it would be a meg,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would try to keep it as small as possible. If you're your largest file size is going to, or the largest file is going to be the largest thing that you're going to be dealing with. And yeah, just don't make those too big. So I don't know, less than a meg, definitely less than a meg. Think about it on a mobile, on mobile. If you think mobile first, then it fixes a lot of those things in your head, because it's like, do I really want to download a megabyte file that's just going to be a logo up in the upper left-hand corner?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Let's see here. Kevin in here saying that storage is cheap, go big. I love that. Well, there are reasons to actually have larger size images. So if you are going to be dealing with having Retina displayed images where they're like the X2 size or something like that, it really depends on how that theme is set up, and how, if you're building the theme yourself, then the way in which you're going to set it up.
I mean, if you're an artist and you're selling paintings, you might want the higher resolution so I can see like the brush marks and stuff. I don't know.
Kevin brings up a good point, though. Have you guys worked with the new responsive features at all? I've kind of been experimenting with that so that WordPress can automatically serve up one of the smaller sizes. That's kind of nice.
It is nice. It's nice because it's not loading these huge files on a mobile device, and it goes like, oh well, I think I can pull this off with this. And there is a little bit of trickery and a little bit of black magic that's involved in trying to get that thing to work right.
Yes.
So if you have a theme that's a older theme and you're trying to get, retrofit that theme to do this type of stuff,
it's going to be a pain.
It's going to be a pain.
I've done that a few times.
Especially when you're dealing with sliders and hero graphics and all sorts of stuff like that. Because the hero graphics already a huge image anyhow, and now you're even making it bigger. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember. I'm not on the computer. I'm usually on at work. There's a few tools for kind of taking care of images, like send the images up and optimizing the image before you actually upload it. I'm trying to remember the name of the one that I use at work.
Like it's a separate service, or is it a?
No, it's actually on. Image Optim. That's the one I use.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I've used that.
It's totally free, and what it does is it takes your image and you drag it into the folder. It takes your image and it compresses it, and then it tells you how much it's saving. So it tells you like, oh, you saved 61% on your car insurance. Click here. But what it does is it takes care of those images. So when and I've kind of trained my folks at work that when you upload an image, use this. Really, all it is this box right here, that's the box that shows up on the screen when you double click on this thing. You drag the images in here, you hit the go button, and then it tells you how much it's going to save you uploading it. It also kind of removes a whole bunch of extra junk that doesn't need to be in there. And I don't know, it's using a lot of open source tools to kind of pull this thing off. So this one's great. It's totally free, doesn't cost you anything, and it's totally worth the probably like less than a meg to download the thing.
So this is just optimizing, not resizing.
Yeah, this is
Right.
optimizing before you upload the image.
So if you need that metadata for mapping or GPS coordinates or something like that, then you shouldn't do that.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, because it's going to remove all the EXIF data that's in there. So just all the little extras that don't need to be in there if you're not going to use them. The other thing is there's another one called PNG Crush that I've used. There's a couple other ones that are like that. There's one with
Tiny
the cute.
PNG.
Yeah, that's the one with the
Yeah.
cute panda, right?
The panda.
I've used that one.
We've
I just
talked
think
about
it's
that one
great.
before.
Like if you have a client that doesn't have Photoshop or doesn't know a lot about image editing stuff, you can set them up with something like that, and it's easy, and just do it.
Load up the cute panda, drag it in there, and it spits out a file. Ta-da!
Done. Hey, and that has a max of 5 megabytes, so that already cuts down from your scary files.
That's true.
You can't put it in the Panda, you can't upload it to your site.
Magify. Yeah, I remember this one. I don't remember. Let's see here. I got to remember how this thing actually ended up working. Let's see
Lossless optimization.
here. Yeah. Compressor.
So there's no more mourning?
Say again?
Lossless?
Yeah, lossless,
For
exactly.
Your loss, your mourning?
Yep.
Kind of like you're passing strings. You need to go see a gastroenterologist.
Right. So like this one right here, you can kind of see that there's no difference. Woo, that's pretty spiffy. So yeah, there's that. So there's a ton of these types of things that are out here. Feel free to check them out. And really, if anything, it's going to help the people that are looking at your site, but it's also going to help your backups, because your backups are going to get ridiculously big, and you're going to wonder, just like what was spoken about earlier, you end up with a 5 gig backup, and you're like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So I know it's funny how like the amount of things that you can do in the media library is pretty limited. Like it's not made to like totally crazy customize this thing out. A lot of the things that we've been talking about today are more along the lines of how to prepare the stuff before you actually upload it to the media library. Is there any other media library type things that we could discuss a little bit?
Hello, alt tags and descriptions.
Alt tags. Yeah, so they're
All
That's
day
built
long,
in.
like-
Use it.
No, for real, yo. I mean, my first part of my job when I first started this job, I just part of the SEO work I did was hanging out in the image library, actually writing captions,
right.
descriptions, alt tags, and naming the photo something better than IMG_5689.
Yes.
And
Like
so,
for real, it's SEO
Usability.
and accessibility.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then because you do the Moz crawl report, and they're like, "Yeah, right." They're laughing at you. Moz is laughing at you.
Moz is laughing at you.
You don't want your mods laughing at you.
I mean, that's built in. You don't need a plugin for that. You just need to do the work. And if you do it at the beginning, you don't have to hire somebody to go backwards.
And what you don't want to do is there's a couple plugins out there that will auto-generate an alt tag based on the image name.
What?
Yes, and you don't want to do that
No.
because it's bad enough that you've named your image IMG_blah blah blah because it came off of your camera that way. Don't do that, because all alt tag is going to be is like Rachel Carden would kill us if we talked about this.
That's exactly who I'm thinking about.
Right? And even if you named it Jason Tucker _WPblab _10/27/2016 _8:20 p.m.
And that's what's going to show up.
What kind of a caption is that? That's the stupidest thing. It should say, Jason Tucker is co-hosting WPblab on October 27, 2016 with Rachelle Wise of Wise Arts talking about the media library. This is the thing that I feel like I say all the time. There's only so much that robots can do, and that includes your robots that you guys make with code. Sometimes you have to just have a human being involved in this situation.
Yep.
So, write those alt tags. Love, Bridget!
Yeah, the one I was telling you about is this this easy SEO friendly images. Don't use this.
7-layer bean dip of no.
Yeah, don't use this.
Nice.
It's
Saving
not,
that for later.
it's not good. Yeah, you're right. There's things that you should definitely automate, and the one thing you should probably not automate is the alt tags and the title tags and whatever else that you're going to be using on your images. Don't do that. And it's super easy. It's super easy to make those changes to those images anyhow within Media Manager.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. It's super easy. I would totally show you these, but I have a lot of these that are totally going against what we were telling about.
You know what I do? You know what I've been doing, you guys? I'll just tell you my trick. So you're going to write a meta description for Yoast anyway.
Right.
Just use that.
Yeah.
Copy and paste, yo. In fact, there you go. There's a plugin somebody needs to write. You can take the Yoast meta description and put that on the featured image. That's your cheater way. Because somebody's going to write that once. Not cheater, but like more automated. You know I love my devs. I love my devs.
Titles have
somebody's talking about dashes versus spaces, and
underscores.
Google doesn't treat underscores as word separators, so use use a hyphen. Yeah.
Dashes are not word separators?
Dashes are words. Dashes are considered spaces to Google, but underscores not.
Wow, that's a good thing I use dashes.
So use a hyphen. Use a dash hyphen, whatever you want.
I'm gonna write that down on a post-it note.
and that's why you'll see a lot of these images will have they'll have some word and then an underscore and then a dash and then an underscore and then the next word, because whatever it was that they used to kind of totally there you go. It starts getting all crazy.
I did not know that.
Yes.
I mean, I usually learn on WPblab, but that's like going to change my life. I think I use dashes, but I'm not sure. So.
Yeah, use dashes. Dashes are what WordPress is using for
I don't know if you can use spaces, though. I don't know if you can use spaces.
You can use spaces. It'll just convert it into a %20.
Right, and it looks like crap. So I don't know about that.
Yes, but you could definitely use a space. It's not going to hurt anything.
File name, dashes. Kevin says file name. This is more of a debate in the chat than GIF and GIF. Choosing moms choose GIF, and GIF
except for the wrong moms, and they're using GIF
to make their caramel apple GIFs. I did not know that about underscores. Oh my gosh, I feel like I need to go backwards on a lot of things just in case. I think I use dashes. I don't remember.
So what was it in the? Let me go back to our original talk and. Let's see here.
I hate 20s in my URLs. So do I, Cheryl. I can't deal with it. I just can't. Spaces and descriptions, titles, and alts. Yeah, I use spaces and descriptions. Those are words, but not in the actual...
And file name.
File name.
Yeah, so we did a poll yesterday regarding this, trying to figure out...
in our Facebook group.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which post it was that was in here.
Oh, we greeted too many people. It's going to be hard to find.
Right? Oh, we have that problem of
being hospitable and nice to people. What a pain we are.
Stop being hospitable.
If you want to be greeted, join our group. No, there's a poll. There's a couple of polls. There's a podcast poll.
Yeah, no, the one was in a comment. I found it. It's in the... I'll pull it up real fast.
Okay, because I was going to say, you're like the bull daddy over there.
All right. So that happened.
I don't know what that means.
So here's the poll that was right here. So categorization file revisions. That's one we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, enable media replace. I guess
that's right. Yeah.
It's not like a traditional digital asset management system. Like it doesn't actually keep the revisions, but it'll let you know when the file was last updated, and it'll overwrite so you don't have multiple versions of the same picture floating around in the library.
Yeah, this one has like 200,000 active installs.
Woo!
Yeah, it's crazy. But what it just gives you a little replace media button, and you click the button, and you upload a new image, and everything changes. And what's nice is the object ID and everything stays exactly the same.
Yes.
So that way, when you're using that image, in your in your PHP somehow by referencing an object ID or what have you, it's not going to change anything. The URL may change, but it'll still stay the same. And isn't there like a checkbox or something like that to rename the file as it gets uploaded or something like that?
I don't know.
See, I
feel like that would break stuff. I think it renames the file to whatever it was named.
Right. Yeah, I remember there was some tricky something that was in there with it that it would do.
Tricky coding magic.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. You could also have it display the modification time date.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you wanted to kind of keep track of all of those, then that's the way that you do it.
But then if you have that many people.
That's right. So Kevin just verified. Yeah. So you can choose to have it use the original name or have it create a whole new name. But you're right. That would totally mess things up if you're referencing the image with it not being attached. So you're not attaching the image. You're just saying like, oh, that image over there, use this URL. Because there are people that definitely will just grab the URLs and just stick them into the posts instead of using, the WordPress way. People still think this is Dreamweaver even though it's not.
Well, you're used to it.
Totally, yeah.
I think it's ideal. Like I have a nonprofit client that has like events like quarterly, and we don't have this plugin on the site right now. So we have 2015 celebrity chef event, 2016 celebrity chef event, and it's like the same file every year and all the sponsor logos every year, just so much. Yeah. It's like if they just had this plugin. So I'm trying to get it cleaned up, and then I'm going to put this plugin in and tell everybody to use it.
Well, I used to do a site that was for it was like a celebrity yearbook website. So they take all these yearbook photos from various of various celebrities, and then they would put them on their website, and then people can click on them and kind of go through and look at all the different images. Well, this thing they would reuse the image, but they would reuse the asset, but not using the same image in WordPress. So they would go, you do a quick little search on Google Images, and you would see the same image over and over and over and over and over again, because they would never, use that image again. They would just upload a whole new image. Right. So if you do a quick little Google search of on your own site, and then click on images, and you can see all the images that are being used on that site. If you start seeing repeats, obviously you're the culprit. You're the ones having that issue.
And more impetus to title and tag your images when you upload them, because then you can find stuff.
Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, search.
There's also that checkbox in Yoast where Yoast SEO where it says if you were to it says something about if you were to go to the image attachment URL, take the person to the post that they were actually trying to get to. So like,
is that like part of the premium Yoast?
Yeah.
I think it's seen that.
But there's a little checkbox on there you can check, so that way when somebody goes and finds that image and clicks on it, instead of it showing the attachment, it'll take you to a page where that thing is actually being attached. It's kind of cool, I guess, just depending on the way that your attachment pages are set up. because it would look awful if it wasn't like the full-size image and it was some thumbnail and it was like a crop of somebody's elbow.
Janky looking.
That's
like,
funny.
that's great. Oh, that reminds me. My eyes are up here. That's
Yes.
what
Aaron Hockley talked about that.
yeah, my eyes are up here is, if that's the correct name for it.
I think so.
Yeah, so this thing's awesome because it actually, yep, that's it. This is a really cool plugin because what it does is if your images are typically like, oops, I just showed myself. If your images are typically images where the person's, it's like a portrait shot, you'll end up with, and these are breasts right here. You'll typically end up with somebody's like chest.
I don't think that they are. I think those are sunglasses.
It's a sexy bikini top.
But what ends up happening is that crop will actually
forever boobs.
It'll be forever boobs. Yep. See, they didn't do a very good. Yeah. So what you can do is you can select hot points. Like you can say like this spot right here.
Oh
this
my
is
God,
where I want you to
that's
crop
so hot.
So if you end up with an image where it's somebody from like their head at the top of the screen and their belly button at the bottom of the screen, WordPress will crop from the center, and you'll end up with somebody's chest. So my eyes are up here is a great plugin to install and use, and people that are building out the building out your blog posts, the people that are actually writing and setting these things up should definitely be using this as a way to make sure that when they upload images, they're actually using the correct area that the way in which it's going to be cropped. And it'll even show you, if I remember correctly here, it'll show you the place in which it's being cropped.
That logo is actually really brilliant.
Right?
My eyes are up here. It's so good.
Eyes.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it because there was. Yeah. Anyhow, it's a great plugin. Definitely install it and use it. If you're looking for something that's going to help you out with cropping your images, and you're doing it after the fact, or you feel that you're going to be using those images in multiple ways, this is the one to use.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Jonathan is like
the master at putting links in the chat without being
very
rejected.
clever.
He's like a link ninja.
He's a ninja.
I need a Jonathan decoder to like put everything back together again. Oh, is he asking for me to share the link?
Emmanuel wanted the links.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Let me grab that for you. That's funny.
Great.
I should tell the bot to just automatically tell you every 10 minutes or something. All right, so eyes are up here. It's a good one. What else was there? Okay, we talked about a few of these. Yeah, Kevin's talk. I remember this one. Kevin's talk about demystifying responsive images in WordPress.
Yes.
Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. If you guys haven't checked that one out, definitely check that one out.
So you can also upload PDFs.
You can.
So then how do you embed those?
Well,
it's trickier, right?
Well,
like I was using iFramely for a while I was using the actual URL of the PDF from the media library and throwing it into iFramely, and then it was like, no, we don't love you anymore. And then I had to go to Embedly, and I was like, why isn't a PDF supported by OEmbed?
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter, I could put Twitter in there. I could put WordPress TV. I could put Slide Deck, SlideShare. I could put like everything else except for just a PDF.
Yeah, during our competition that we had at WordCamp Orange County, we actually...
Dr. Fragan made a plugin. Yep. I'm just saying, like, core contributors, give the PDF some love.
I'm trying to find that plugin.
Oh.
But if you're going to embed the PDF,
I think it's called embed PDF.
Isn't that like a usability thing? Like, if you're going to embed the PDF in the page, why not just put the content on the page? Like
because sometimes you want it to be designed a certain way. That's why. It's called Embed PDF Viewer by Andy Fragan.
Oh, okay.
So here's an example. So a GIF, we do. Like my voice changes, like I turn into infomercial Bridget. I'm not trying to, but we've been doing these use cases, and who wants a use case? A lot of times it's not just a developer, right, who wants to read a blog post and look at your GitHub. A use case is we forget in content marketing that we need to speak to our audience. A lot of times nonprofit executives, they want that printable PDF that they can just hand to somebody and say, we want this to happen because this plugin can integrate with Infusionsoft, and isn't that amazing? They need to print something out. They want to print something out. It's just amazing to me how many times people come to us at the booth at a WordCamp and wanting printed materials. So then we're making these PDFs, right? And it's not just some
crazy
thing. It's designed by a legitimate person. It looks good, but then we want to embed it on this thing. It's just been a whole whatever.
I'd be like, you know what? You have an iPhone? Cool. Let's do AirDrop real quick. Boom, done. There's your file. It's in your thing.
Actually, that's a good idea. AirDrop. I'm writing this down. You think that this is my market research right here?
Right. Exactly.
AirDrop. That's actually a really good idea.
Or you just make a tiny URL type thing of I don't know, something on Dropbox, something on Google Drive.
I know, but they still want to print it out. They want to see it, and then they want to print it out. It's like a whole thing.
So you could hand them a coupon for like the UPS store, and they can go over there and go print it out themselves.
I'm just saying, and Jonathan's saying they're the bane of his existence in higher ed. I mean, people want, you have to speak. I learned this from being in construction. If the 80-year-old wants to walk inside the building and hand you a check for $40,000, you don't say, why didn't you pay me over the internet? You take it
and they want to fax their orders to you.
And they fax, but you have a fax for that one person because he's 80 and he's not getting an email address. You're just lucky he still has a fax machine. And so you take it and you write for deposit only on the back with your account number, and that's how you deal with it. Because whatever somebody wants to communicate with you. And I think it's a mistake a lot of times to forget about how our audience wants to be communicated with. So anyway, that's a mini rant from your favorite content marketer, Bridget Willard. The next segment, Rachelle you're talking about the WordPress Media Library. Stay with us.
So there are some things regarding PDFs that will make like a little icon next to the text that says like this is a PDF, and actually tell you that it's a PDF. I'm trying to remember which one. I used it on a project a while back. But it would tell you, hey, just to let you know, this thing's a PDF. Or it will make it so when you click on it, it'll download the PDF instead of displaying it in the browser.
Yeah, I linked to it.
That's a huge one.
We have to make one that's paginated so they can print it.
Right.
It's a whole thing.
Oh, my.
Like, we forget, like, I know some young people have never seen a Thomas guide, but the reason why you print out a map is because if your phone dies, right? So this is the reality that we live in. There are certain people that just want information a certain way.
True.
So, yeah, like Jonathan was saying, sometimes they want more information that's on the website, and there is no more information than what is on the website, and that I agree with 100%. So
yeah, so one of the ways we were just talking about, and I mentioned just now about forcing the PDF to be downloaded. I'll put this in the notes. There's actually just one line of code that you put into your htaccess file, and it'll just take care of that for you.
Okay. For the super devs. So Adam's saying, like, have we talked about accessing and uploading to the media library from the front end? Does he mean like user-generated content with like a Gravity form? How else would you upload from the front end?
Oh yeah, so like Gravity forms, definitely like Gravity forms. Mm-hmm. So with that, yeah, you would use create a Gravity form or any form plugin that will allow you to attach a PDF or attach a file and then be able to upload that file. And then, yeah, for the most part, they'll make it so that you can actually add those images into the library, so you'll be able to use them later. I don't know if they. See, I don't do this stuff all that much. Allowing somebody to upload an image. Personally, I would have that image just dropped into a folder on the server, and then having it so you can actually look at them from there. I don't know if I want to have random people just upload images and drop them into my.
I need like a use case for that. I feel like I would have people have to have logins or something.
I'm just looking at like buffer overflow type errors of this like ridiculously long, huge, monster-sized image that hasn't been sanitized, like the file name.
Yeah.
When somebody uploads it and it has like JavaScript in the name of the file or something, and it takes over your computer and destroys it.
Yeah, we use Gravity Form for GIF story submissions, and it just sends me an email.
Yeah.
It's not going into the media library.
A logo contest. Yeah. I'd still have that thing just send an email or put it into Google Drive or put it into something else other than.
Kevin's talking about uploading your avatar, but like for us, with our guest writers, it's attached to their Gravatar, which is not uploaded. It's
in those kind of cases, you would be a user that would be logged in, so you could hook into the appropriate meta tags and fields, I think.
But Gravity Forms does let you upload, or sorry, Gravity Forms does let like anonymous people could just write a blog post that would be thrown in the drafts. You're getting kind of into the scary weeds of the internet putting in bad things into your website, but
I can take your site down.
This one line of code.
So James is talking about how they use it to crowdsource the WAPOs.
Ooh.
Am I saying that right?
The
WAPO?
The WAPO.
Or WAPO. Is it WAPO or WAPO?
Oh, jeez. All right, I'm
Japanese?
done. I'm out of here. See you later.
I've never heard it pronunciated.
Yeah, the Q is silent.
We have fun on this show. Yes, anyway.
Gravity perks.
That's what James does.
Yeah, our all the folks that are in the docs, definitely put in the Gravity perks plugin.
WAPO.
WAPO.
Okay. So I will try to. I will not write another sticky note. So like I'm so old school. Like this is what I do. This is my show notes.
Yeah, so
they're on my monitor.
So what do? Take a picture of that, and then you'll paste it into the Google Doc? Is that what you're going to do? And then somebody's going to have to OCR it?
Paste it into Evernote.
OCR never works. Oh, my gosh. Okay, so Jeff.
OCR never works for me because I don't spell any of the words correctly. So.
Damn.
I know. As you start writing, doesn't autocorrect? Come on.
That's interesting, though.
Undo.
So, does WordPress have an OCR plugin for the media library?
Oh, no. Can you imagine?
That would have to be off-site, I think.
A PDF.
Yeah, I mean, somebody probably wrote one, and servers probably hate it.
That would be a lot of processing.
Yeah, you definitely want to have that off-site. Yeah, you're right. Definitely have some other server deal with that and bring it back.
It's just trying to bring us back. I take the train off the tracks, I put it back. It's called responsible segueing.
Well, earlier in the chat, they were talking about using PDFs and how sometimes people do bad things and they'll scan an image or they'll scan a document and then use the scan as the PDF, so there's no highlightable text and it hasn't been OCR'd anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Why'd you do that? And then top it off, you're not making it downloadable off your website.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't be a jerk. Don't do that. So what were some of the, we talked about a bunch of stuff tonight. What were some of the things that you were working on the project that you're about to start doing here regarding the media library?
I guess the thing that I'm working on is I'm dealing with a manufacturer that has a lot of products and different categories. And so I'm just thinking, rather than have all of the images just dumped into the media library, actually be able to sort them by the product type. And so those sorts of situations are like, many years back, I used to work for a furniture manufacturer doing like some web development and 3D modeling actually. And,
Wow.
and they had so many images, and they actually weren't on WordPress, and I wanted to convert them over to WordPress. And so I was going through this kind of stuff then, and it was a long time ago, and I don't even think some of these plugins existed then. And so I was trying to figure out, how can I hack the media library to put extra fields in, and, you know, like doing it by hand, and it just was a nightmare. And so that ended up not happening, thankfully. But it's just, you know, I think it's especially useful for situations like that, where it's like, you know, product based, either, you know, it can be B2B or B2C, just where you have tons and tons of images and you need to keep track of them. And I think it's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, I remember working on a project where they wanted to have an image gallery, and this was before there were decent image galleries that are, you know, that we have now. And I ended up building out the image attachment pages as the gallery, and you could just step between the gallery. They also wanted to have interstitial type images that would show up that were ads. So as you start going through these images, you'd get to an ad. So it was like a placeholder image, and then you'd have some more of them. So I built some things out with that where, you know, this was how this thing was going to be set up. And so you would have a certain number of images, you know, from like image number 5002 to image number 5038, and like those would be, you'd have to specify that, but there is no real good way of doing it. That was the only way to really make it happen. So building that was fun, but it was, you know, now I would never. There's definitely better ways to do things. Trying to hack the image attachments was not the best way to go about it. So let's see here. Here's another question. Hey, how about customizing the path of the WP-content/uploads folder? I've never done it, but it scares me. It scares me too. Is that something that you can do? I know that's something that you can do in multi-site. We've done that before. But yeah, you can definitely do that.
I feel like there are badly built plugins that would rely on that path, and they would be broken. I don't know.
Because that path would be hard coded. Instead of using like the be like well, okay, so some of the I have seen that where they'll use the style sheet URL as the way to determine where that's going to be at, and then they'll back up a folder, and then they'll go forward a folder.
That's ugly.
That's awful. But I have seen it. But yeah, Jonathan's talking about it.
Yep.
So we did get a couple questions about CDNs earlier.
Yes.
I know Photon's a CDN. People use Max CDN.
Max CDN's good stuff.
In the next 12 minutes, what's the strategic and tactical purpose of using a content delivery network?
Oh boy. 12 minutes, huh? Okay, let me see if I can make that happen. I don't know. I think using a CDN is good. It's taking a lot of the load off of your server of dealing with, you know, sending out those images. The images aren't coming from just one physical location, but rather they'll be coming out of edge servers that are all over the world that will find the closest server to where you're at, and then be able to tell it, hey, I'm in Australia, and hopefully there's a server that's over here. Can you send me the images from the Australian server? And it'd just be a heck of a lot faster. There's other things that you can do with that as well. Back in the day, you know, browsers could only download so many images per server at a time. So having the images come from multiple servers would speed it up some. Back then, people would use like an images.theirdomainname.com and throw all the images in there. So that way their website would load up, and then the images would be pulled from the images host. So there's a bunch of ways to do that. It really just depends on what you're doing and how you're wanting to get those images to load up. If anything else, just having that edge, dealing with the edge servers makes it a lot easier, so that's geographically local to you.
Does that mean they're not in the media library if you're using a CDN, for those who are uninformed?
Yeah, they're totally still in the media library. They're either just being pushed or pulled depending on how you're looking at it.
So the media library
and
becomes like an RSS feed of the images stored elsewhere?
Well, most of the time, the plugin that you're using to do it would inform the server, hey, I have a new image. Can you grab a copy of it? It just grabs a copy of it and stores it. And then there's a set number of minutes, hours, days that it'll keep it, and then you can blow out that cache. So like web hosts like WP Engine, for instance, you can go in there and say, hey, I want you to blow everything out. Hit this button, it nukes all of the caches from everywhere, and then it starts from scratch and starts working its way back up again.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have Jetpack. I know I could turn on Photon.
Yeah.
But I don't have much going on, so.
Yeah, I used to work for a commercial real estate company where they would take all their images of like every single one of their listings, and all of those would be sent up to Akamai. So Akamai would be the kind of the hosting server or the CDN that would be hosting those images. But instead of waiting for Akamai to get a copy of each of those images by scraping the page and downloading the image and then serving it up to the next person, what you would do is you would prime up the server by taking those images that you already have and that you know about, push them out to them, and then they would know what the relative URL is for, where they're trying to pull that image, and then replace the URL and use the one that's coming from Akamai. So that's what WP Engine does, the exact same type of thing. Does that help you with your question?
Well, I'm sure if I don't know, there's other people who don't know.
Yeah.
I've heard CDN before. You've explained it to me. I never thought about how a CDN would integrate with your media library. I figured it would just be, you would be throwing in href tags because
most of them
source
just
equals
automatically will change that out.
That sounds a little more convenient, because I was always thinking you would have to hard code. Right? Like, I was like, why would you guys put all your images somewhere else? You gotta go image src equals forget that. It's crazy.
It's auto-magical.
I like auto-magical. I'm not against auto-magical. I just never did it. And it's, most things are too scary for me, but that's why I have #Bridgetable. Yeah, Cloudflare is another one I hear a lot of people talk about. Cloudflare.
Yep, Cloudflare. If you're doing security type stuff, or if you're using Security's web application firewall actually acts as a CDN.
Oh, really?
So it's all built in. So they'll actually grab copies of your images, throw it into their CDN, and then when somebody comes to the site, they've actually scanned all the JavaScript, all of the CSS, all of the images for any embedded junk, and then it pushes that back out to your viewers. So that's a good thing. So if you're cool. If you're wondering like, why should I use I don't care about security. Well, okay, just because you don't care about security, you can also be able to at least have your images load up faster. What other ones have you guys heard of, have used other than like Cloudflare or MaxCDN?
I've used Amazon, and I for some reason it was slow for me. I don't know.
Like building an S3 bucket and throwing all of the images in there and having it flow from there?
I don't know what was going on. Maybe I was catching it at a bad time. My site was actually slower using it. So then I ended up trying something else. I don't know. But I know a lot of people use it, and it's great. So I don't know what the heck was happening with me. I'll have to try it again sometime.
Yeah, the closer you get to the metal, the cheaper it usually ends up costing. So using something like S3, you're building everything yourself, getting closer to the metal. So that way you're not having...
I thought it was like going to be some kind
heavy
of
metal? Like no.
What are you talking about?
No, yeah, by making it so that the thing you're building it yourself, it makes it so that you're not paying for somebody's development and stuff to make it all work. But yeah, Cloudflare out of the box works great for that sort of stuff, and you should definitely take a look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Jonathan has a suggestion for a plugin that's really great by Delicious Brains. Definitely take a look at that one. It's called W3 Offload S3, and it just kind of takes, WP Offload S3, and it kind of takes all of the headache out of it, because you just specify the place in which it's going to store it over on S3, and then it just starts uploading those images and making them available over there. So that might help you out.
Oh, Emmanuel's saying S3 is better for storage, not delivering. I'm catching up now. I get it.
Yeah, there's
CloudFront.
CloudFront would be the other. So yeah, having that store it, and then you tell it, hey, go take care of this for me. What else is there? We didn't talk about WP Rocket. WP Rocket's good stuff for caching.
Mm-hmm.
That's something to take a look at. I'm just looking through some of the notes here while we got just a couple minutes left on the shoe.
I mean, 90 minutes on the media library, that's like some serious dedication to WordPress.
Right.
Wow. We got off the rails a few times.
Yeah, but we put it back.
You put it back.
Yeah, I like gut Munchausen syndrome for derailedness. I derail it and then I bring it back.
Yeah, here's WP Rocket and the stuff that they do. But one of the things that it does support out of the box.
Lazy load. That's
lazy loads.
Ooh.
This
comparison chart here.
Yeah,
I know. I love comparison charts. Look at that. That's awesome.
I'm like, I'm using W3 Total Cache, and it's not as good.
But yeah, lazy load's nice because it allows for the images to load up as you start scrolling down the page. So that way it's not waiting for the whole flipping site to load up before it starts displaying images. But that's good stuff too. But yeah, like Hypercache and Supercache and W3 Total Cache, those things just can't do that sort of stuff. You know, they're not going to deal with that. They'd much rather deal with minifying the text and all those sorts of things.
They know when it's time.
Yeah, your dog's like, come on, dude. Like, come on.
Sully's been bugging me for 5 minutes, and Chloe's finally like, it's 9 o'clock. No, it's blab is over. It's time for them to go potty. This is what dogs are routine oriented, and that's why they're good for me, because I am routine oriented. I don't even need to look at the clock. My dogs keep me on time.
Yeah, we eat at 5 around here. I always know when it's 5, or even slightly before.
I've been trying
guys,
to push
it's only 4:30.
Right? Like with it getting darker sooner, it's gonna suck when the time actually changes. Like,
I know.
Do not be waking me up at 3 a.m., dogs.
So you want to wrap up early? We can wrap up 2 minutes early. How about that?
2 minutes.
Ask Rachelle where everybody can find her on the internet.
Yeah, where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter at WiseArts, and I'm at RachelleWise.com. I'm on LinkedIn.
Nice. And if somebody wanted to hire you, what type of work are you doing?
Oh, I do just about everything. I like to focus on development, but I also do some online marketing shenanigans, and I've done video, 3D modeling. But
nice.
Yeah, development is kind of my favorite thing. I started as a designer, and I found that I actually liked writing code a lot more than designing. So
cool.
I like to offload my design onto somebody else and write the code.
and then you get all critical about how horrible the design is. Like, why did you do it this way?
I can, yeah. No, I've been lucky. I've been working with some really awesome designers lately, and I appreciate that so much. It's really nice because, you know, sometimes those magical unicorns, the designers that know a little bit about code, and then the coders who know a little bit about design, can get together and make beautiful things.
That's awesome. So yeah, if you're looking to hire somebody, definitely go check her out and check out all the cool stuff that she's doing over on her website, because her website has a lot of really interesting things on there.
I don't even have everything on there yet. I'm so busy. I don't know what to do. I can hire somebody to make my website.
There you go. I have seen that happen.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show today. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Yes, good.
Make sure you go over to our website over on WPwatercooler.com/WPblab. You can go check out all the stuff that's going on over there. And if you're watching this live, you're watching this later, and you're like, you know what, I wouldn't mind hanging out with these folks a little bit. Make sure you go over to facebook.com/group/fans of WPblab. Be more than happy to have you on and come hang out with us and learn about all the cool things that are going on in the WordPress community, and that you can get involved as well. We'd really appreciate it. Go and click on the little thumbs up button if you like this thing. If you don't like it, you can push the thumbs down button 2 times.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, but the 2 times is great. It just makes you feel
2 times.
I'm done with you guys. You're like, thank you. And lastly, if you're watching this live right now, you can click on the little subscribe button. And that makes us feel really good about everything that's going on the interwebs, and that you're able to check us out and know when we go live every week. We go live 2 times a week, both on Mondays as well as on Thursdays. So go check it out. All right, folks, talk to you later. That's about it. Bye-bye.
Bye.